everybody, before I start the video today, I just want to give a brief word from my sponsor, the Mobile App Alliance. The Game Alliance is a classic for a reason. It combines all the best top RPGs you've ever played. What makes this one better than the rest is that in this game, there's 10,000 different hero combinations that really put your skills to the test, meaning you have to work for your wins on this one. In Alliance, you have real-time PvP, crazy giant bosses, never-ending hero combinations, and massive guild battles finally on mobile devices. Click the link in the description down below and get your first 50,000 gold as well as 50 gems for free. Over the past decade, one of the most popular shows on the entire internet has been the Nostalgia Critic. Run by Doug Walker, he reviews some of the worst movies of his childhood, but in more recent years he also covers more recent films as well. This comedic review show has been produced by Channel Awesome for the past 10 years, and over that time they built up quite a following. But also in the past few months there's been a lot of accusations claimed against them as well as Doug Walker. So what happened? Before we get into the controversy, however, I want to go over a brief history of the Channel Awesome and Nostalgia Critic business model. While most of us now know them as a YouTube channel, that wasn't always the case. When the YouTube Partner Program originally started up back in 2007, it was an exciting time. The small group of creators that had started to build up a following could now make money off of their channel by splitting the profits with Google. But unfortunately, there were a few catches. YouTube was very picky about who they let into this program at first. They looked at the genre of your content, your audience demographics, and heck, even if they personally liked you to decide if you would be allowed to monetize your videos, as well as gaining a lot of other features, such as customizing your channel, having a spot to recommend other YouTubers, and having access to uploading videos longer than 10 minutes. One of the most common things that prohibited some creators from getting into the program was that they'd often turn down any channels that relied on fair use, such as the Angry Video Game Nerd, and yes, it appears the Nostalgia Critic as well. So for these popular critics that created longer videos with a lot of effort put into them, they'd have to go to a different site if they wanted to monetize their content. And in the case of Doug Walker, he decided to go to ThatGuyWithTheGlasses.com, run by Channel Awesome. This would allow him to post his wildly popular Nostalgia Critic videos with very little worry about him being taken down by some random Google bot. Plus, he'd have full control over the ecosystem around him, and the payout was higher. On top of this, since there was such little quality content on the internet back then, his fans were more than willing to go to this site to watch his wildly entertaining videos. Since there were a lot of other critics online that couldn't monetize on YouTube but were also not big enough to warrant their own website, Doug and the people at Channel Awesome saw this as an opportunity to bring them under the That Guy With The Glasses banner. Eventually, they also came out with a sister site, Blister Thumbs, for gaming content. ThatGuyWithTheGlasses.com was not the only website to follow this business model, however. Creators all over banded together to make their own websites for their content. The ones I could think of off the top of my head were Normal Boots, Hidden Block, Reviewtopia, Screw Attack, Game Trailers, and that's about all I could think of off the top of my head. What it often meant to be part of one of these websites is in return for posting your content on there, they drive traffic your way for people that were watching other videos and then will stumble upon yours because they're already on the website. Looking back now, there are only a handful of creators that were making a substantial amount of money by posting on ThatGuyWithTheGlasses.com. Rather, it wasn't about the money, but more that you were part of a community, which is something I now understand as an adult. I remember back in 2011, when I was just a kid making gaming content on this channel, I so badly wanted to be part of one of these communities, thinking it would bring me a little bit of fame and fortune as well. I'm so thankful now that they all turned me down, considering that there's so much more room for growth on YouTube than there was on any of these websites. At the beginning, it may have been a good move to become part of ThatGuyWithTheGlasses.com. But as the years went on, however, running your own website to post uploads became less and less monetarily viable. By 2014, the rules had loosened on YouTube so you could monetize content that falls under fair use fairly easily. So these critics could now go on YouTube where there's a much bigger potential audience. This was also the same year that That Guy With The Glasses was rebranded as Channel Awesome, and the gaming sister site Blister Thumbs was closed down in an effort to streamline the brand. The switch from That Guy With The Glasses to ChannelAwesome.com was a dumb move, however, because the second that they moved to a new site, all their years of building up search ranks on Google were deleted, and they had to start all over again. This led to a massive decrease in website viewership. The final straw that ruined any appeal there was to post your content on Channel Awesome was in 2015, when Blip.tv was closed down. Most of these websites, including Channel Awesome, had used Blip to host their videos as well as fill in the ad space. But with its closing, everything went fully to Google's grasp, with Channel Awesome just embedding YouTube videos now, destroying any reason to use their site rather than just subscribing to the YouTube channel. After this, being on the same site as the Nostalgia Critic, which was once a big deal, is now just another place to post your videos that may help you get a couple extra views if you're lucky. The market shifted, and now just posting your content on YouTube is the way to go. And Channel Awesome now focuses mainly on Doug Walker related projects and not other partners, since they weren't bringing in any money for the business. This brings us to 2018, when a massive push has been made to expose Channel Awesome, including Doug Walker, of their mistreatment of smaller partners on the website from years past. This included them making a 69-page long document citing every single little grievance smaller creators who were on Channel Awesome had. Over the past few days, I've seen a lot of people sharing this document on Twitter, although I'm a little bit confused as to why this is going on in 2018, considering that ChannelAwesome.com hasn't really been relevant in a few years. Although, I guess I'll give them a shot and read it over. The first thing you'll notice reading over this document is that they're really trying to get you to hate the people running ChannelAwesome.com. But when I'm looking it over, a lot of these complaints people are pointing out and compiling here just seem extremely petty.
We were not employed by Channel Awesome. Channel Awesome simply embeds videos on their site. Outside of the anniversary movies, no contracts were involved. The only people paid were the people involved with the Chicago crew.
Okay, and how is this a point against them? You knew the deal when you signed up for the website. You get a page where you could embed your videos. Even me, who was never part of the website, understood that this is how the arrangement worked, and if you didn't like it, I don't understand why you didn't just turn them down.
Doug is not considered anything but talent, yet frequently is part of business calls and the like, including ones highlighted here. He also is occasionally part of company decisions. He is more involved with business than he likes to let on, and is also involved as a human being and face of the company.
Okay, so Doug may have had more power than he let on to people. That kind of makes sense considering he's by far the biggest person on the entire website.
During my early days on the site, we would have to fight to get slots for the day, but especially during the holidays. Doug proceeds to hog the slots with his lazy Disney-cember vlogs.
So you're telling me they gave the most popular person on the entire website by far first dibs on time slots? How is that surprising? Of course, Doug Walker got special treatment. He was the biggest person on the entire site. And I like how you add that little jab about the Disney-cember videos being bad, as if that has to do with anything.
Channel Awesome paid for travel/lodge and meals when they were during filming hours. Otherwise, we were on our own. They had to be told to have water on set. We were not paid for our time, nor did we make any revenue from the DVDs. We were paid in exposure and a free trip with our friends. When we pointed out that exposure didn't mean anything after the first time, we were told we didn't have to go to them.
So let me get this straight. You knew up front that you were not going to make anything off the revenue of DVD sales from this anniversary special you were going to take part in, yet you decided to do it anyway. I don't understand the idea that you get a complaint about something after you agreed to do it in the first place for no monetary compensation. In my YouTube career, I'm offered bad deals from companies nonstop. And you want to know what I do when I get one of those bad offers? I don't take them. And the craziest part is, some of the people that complained about one Doug Walker movie agreed to be in the next one after they had complaints about being in the first one. You don't get a complaint after the fact after you were complicit in this for all these years.
Doug's style of directing is to tell us to do it more like him. If we pointed out we wouldn't deliver a line like that, he'd tell us we'll try it both ways, so he could use the take of us doing it his way.
Again, I don't understand these complaints. It was Doug's movie, so of course he's going to choose how people are going to act in it. If you don't like it, you shouldn't have been in the movie. No one was holding a gun up to your head to be part of it. I'm only a few pages into this document, but you could see what I mean. There are a few legitimate grievances hidden in there, but most of it is just really petty. While I don't want this video to run too long, I suggest checking out the document for yourself to read through these grievances yourself, and you could decide which ones you think are valid and which which ones aren't. I'll leave a link to it in the description. Some of the sexual harassment claims in there appear very disturbing to me if they're true, which at this point seems very likely, unfortunately. But mixing in those legitimate complaints with all this other petty stuff hurts the cause. Since the rest of Twitter seems to be on the creator side of things, I thought I was losing my mind thinking that most of this document was not newsworthy in any way. So I asked the former partner of Channel Awesome I Knew, Shane, who runs the channel Rerez, to hear out my view on this whole controversy, and he seemed to agree with pretty much all of my assessments about it, so I don't think I'm crazy. I understand it's easy just to take the creator's side on this sort of stuff because people like rooting for the little guy over the big bad company that holds the power, but I can't help but take Channel Awesome's side on some of these complaints. The company of course gave Doug Walker special treatment over everyone else. He brought in the most money for the website. And most of the other stuff people are complaining about, it was all their choice to take part in it in the first place. A lot of these people have been stewing on this stuff for over half a decade, even though the site isn't relevant anymore. In response to all this outrage, Channel Awesome hasn't done anything more than give a very generic semi-apology on their Twitter account, so they haven't given their side of every single point in this expose document, and I doubt they ever will. You may say, why doesn't Doug Walker come out and give his side of the story? And to that I'd ask, why would he? Even with all these people making long, detailed reports of every single time Channel Awesome did something they didn't like, it's not even making a dent in his revenue. Going to some recent Channel Awesome videos on YouTube that came out after this expose, you'll notice that there's not a crazy disproportionate amount of dislikes compared to likes on their newer videos. Oftentimes you'll see over 50% downvotes after a controversy for a YouTuber, but that's not the case here. The point I'm trying to make is that from a business standpoint, even with all this blowing up in a small community on Twitter, I highly doubt it will have any lasting damage monetarily speaking. I see all these partners jumping ship from channelawesome.com right now, and people are acting like the company is done for because of it. But if we take the emotion out of it, that's really not the case. First of all, most of these creators making a scene about leaving Channel Awesome didn't have much of a following to begin with. This isn't taking a shot at them personally, but rather to show that Channel Awesome isn't going to lose much money because of them leaving. The reason I told the story of the rise and fall of video collective websites is to show that they're not really needed anymore, and that partnering with Channel Awesome's website is nothing more than a holdover from the past. They don't make much, if anything, from these people on the website anymore. So you may ask what their current money-making model is if it's not the website. Well, the answer is Nostalgia Critic on YouTube. Every episode of the long-running series receives well over 500,000 views for the channel, often crossing the million mark. And considering it's been popular for a decade, those numbers will most likely stay the same for many years to come. These consistent numbers have allowed them to gain a steady stream of sponsored messages, which have made the series potentially very lucrative. Because of this, I can't help but feel all this backlash against Channel Awesome's treatment of partners currently is 5 years too late, and that most of today's teenagers won't even understand it. They just know Channel Awesome as a YouTube channel where the Nostalgia Critic is, and don't get how big of a deal the standalone website was back in the day, or how being partnered there mattered. This hashtag change the channel controversy is the equivalent to if, hypothetically, some people in 2018 started to complain about how terrible Netflix's DVD mail rental service is. Even if they did have a legitimate problem with the service, such as discs always being scratched, no one in the general public would care because Netflix is all about streaming, and that's just a legacy service they keep alive because a couple of people still use it. Just like Netflix, Channel Awesome's business model has changed, and what these people are complaining about isn't even part of what the company is making money off of anymore. I know my take on all this is going to make some people mad, but the fact still stands that if these grievances picked up steam in 2012, this would be a huge thing online. But now they're just going after a website that doesn't matter anymore. And unless you want to spend the time to educate people on the business model of a company from years past and how under that structure you were wronged, I don't see general audiences caring, just a little niche of a couple thousand people on Twitter. I think at this point, the best thing we could do is use this all as a learning experience. That when you decide to work under somebody else, while there may be advantages, there could also be problems as well. And just because somebody offers you something doesn't mean you have to take it. While Channel Awesome's website is no longer relevant, that advice is timeless. Hey everybody, and thank you so much for making it to the end of this video today. It's really appreciated. And before I wrap things up, I want to make one thing clear that I know I'm going to get straw man arguments against me about in the comments. I mean, who am I kidding? I'm going to get them either way, but I just want to make one thing clear. I want to make it very clear again that I don't believe every single thing in this document was petty or invalid. Of course, some of the things seem pretty troubling to me, but a lot of it happened years ago with people that were no longer part of Channel Awesome, or the other side of the story was never told in the document, so I don't know, there may be an opposing opinion that I have not heard yet, so I can't make final judgment on it. And also, Channel Awesome is just not relevant anymore, so you're a little too late to go after them for this stuff. It's just kind of like, I don't know, somebody goes and complains about Toys R Us as Toys R Us is closing down. Those stores are not relevant anymore, they're going to be gone soon. Just like that, Channel Awesome, the website, it's just kind of around where people post embedded links to their YouTube videos. Their entire business model is based off of Nostalgia Critic on YouTube, so I think that they're just really late to the party. I'm not saying that they don't have any valid complaints or that they weren't wronged at some point, but it's just late. Is that unreasonable of a statement? Again, I'll leave a link to the expose document in the description down below, and please feel free to read it for yourself and make your own judgments. And if you have disagreements with me, please feel free to post them in the comments. I really want to hear them and I want my points challenged. Just don't use fallacious arguments against me and actually try to articulate your points rather than just calling me stupid or calling me names and ad hominem attacks. That does nothing and it just makes me believe I'm right. So I'll wrap up the video here, and until next time, thanks for watching.